Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and I'm probably going to mess these pronunciations up on these, so my apologies ahead of time, but this knife is the Tsunehisa G3 or Ginsan. That's a stainless steel Migaki Nakiri 165 millimeter knife. So these have 3-layer construction, and what you kind of see that right here is the cladding. So they have a soft stainless cladding on each side of a hardcore cutting edge steel. The core steel is known as G3 or Silver 3 or Ginsan or Ginsanko. There's different names for it, but it's a fine grained conventional stainless steel that's awesome for kitchen knives. It sharpens up really well. It's very easy to sharpen, takes a great edge, as I mentioned, and the edge retention is kind of apropos for the style of steel that it is. It's not a powdered metallurgy steel with great edge retention, but it has decent edge retention, and again, it's very, very easy to sharpen, so it's a great kitchen cutlery steel. The weight and dimensions on these can vary just a little bit from knife to knife, but the weight on this particular one is 149 grams or 5.3 ounces. The edge length on these Nakiri style of blades, I measure from the back of the blade up to kind of the useful portion of the curve at the tip here, and so around 160 millimeters or so is the usable cutting edge, and then the entire length of the knife from top spine tip here to handles about 12 inches, right on the money. The blade thickness, so this is a little thicker coming out of the handle, and then it thins out quite a bit, so I got about 3.1 millimeters spine thickness right here above the back of the heel there, and then I measured about 1.9 halfway down, 1.9-ish halfway down, and then pretty much holds pretty much that 1.9-ish or so all the way to the end of the blade. This blade has a fair amount of stiffness, especially in the back half, as you might expect for this style. They usually do. The height of the blade is very consistent. I always take measurements on this style of blade at 2 points, the back and the middle for the height, but I got about 50 millimeters both places, so it's about the same height all the way. Sometimes Nakiri knives can either be shorter at the heel and then gain height as you go, or vice versa. Handles are ambidextrous oval walnut with a maple ferrule. Nice fit and finish on the handles, and they do a nice job of glue up and sealing that tang area. Always check this on these wa or Japanese handled knives where that tang goes into the handle. If there are gaps there, you always want to put some kind of sealer on that, whatever your preference is, so you don't get moisture in there. The circumference of this handle where the two materials meets about 72 millimeters, so it's kind of an appropriate size handle. There's enough of a gap here, and this can vary knife to knife, that you can get your finger here a bit for a pinch grip, so it's pinch grip friendly. Balance point is going to be about right there, so for me, that's pretty darn close to where my pinch is when I pinch grip, so that means it's a very neutral kind of feel. Your mileage might vary a little bit on that. Let's see, let's do our beauty shot here. So as you can see, the fit and finish is well done on these. You can see they do have hand chiseled or hand engraved kanji, and that's becoming less common, so that's a very nice feature. You can kind of feel it when you run your fingers over it. You can see the vertical finish marks on the blade itself, and you can see where the cladding gives way to the core steel. Then that shiny part of the bottom is the actual edge bevel. I'd say out of the box edge on these, I give it a 5, maybe 6 out of 10. Seems like they've got a pretty nice edge on it. You can definitely get this steel really sharp though, so if you know how to sharpen, you may want to go ahead and just put a good full-on edge, stone progression to it right out of the box. As I said, fit and finish is nice. They've got a little bit of relief on the corners of the spine. They've got some nice relief on the edges on the choil into the neck here, and so it's pretty comfortable right out of the box. And it tends to be fairly thin at the edge, so they've got pretty good performance geometry here. So these should be nice performers. Let's look at the cutting edge profile. So again, this is an all stainless blade, very easy to maintain. So a Nakiri knife generally will have a flattish profile because a lot of it is about chopping, but you can also use those rounded tips to rock. So that's what's cool about these. Yes, they can rock. So You can see what that looks like. This has a fairly flat middle section. You kind of flow into here, and then you kind of have a little bit of a roll back to the heel. So this will actually chop pretty nicely, but yet you still have the ability to do a little bit of rocking with it. You don't want a Nakiri profile that's dead flat because that's really hard to use. So if you had like a pool table flat edge to this, unless you hit it perfectly straight up and down every time, you'd hit the tip or the front, and you couldn't rock it, and it would just be kind of unforgiving and hard to use. So you want a little bit of curvature to that edge to make it more user friendly. But this is a fairly flattish Nakiri edge profile, so definitely a chopper for sure. So nice line of knives, good looking traditional Wa or Japanese handle, all stainless, great steel. It's a good package. So this is the Tsunehisa G3 or Ginsan Migaki Nakiri 165mm knife.